Alright, top 5 decks for the KC Cup and for the format in general. We'll see if we get a new ban list or not afterwards, and what we get in terms of new cards. I would expect Konami may want to shake things up with Master Duel taking so much attention away from this game, but as is, right now, Magnet Warrior is the best deck in the game at the moment, and I expect it to be the best deck during the upcoming KC Cup. We've got a number of things that are going for it. Obviously, being able to tag out all of their monsters on their opponent's turn is very beneficial. You're able to fill up your graveyard really fast for your Berserkion play. Berserkion coming out, clearing out all your opponent's back rows makes it difficult for battle traps to be effective versus this deck when it can just clear them out. It also got some new XYZ monsters in its arsenal that are really beneficial. Number one being Gorgonic Guardian. Only one copy in this deck, but many of them are running two. It's an extremely powerful card. Being able to turn anything to 0 attack points, being able to blow up monsters and negate effects. It's really helped push this deck over the top, and with all the other decks taking hits on the ban list here and there, this deck has just been able to rise to the top as being sort of the most powerful one in the format. It's sort of the best D-draw deck at the moment right now. It is the best D-draw deck at the moment. We also have access to the standard sort of spell and trap lineups, the MSTs, the Book of Moons. No Treacherous Trap Hole in this deck, although I have seen some Magnet Warriors definitely playing the TTH, but a lot of them tend to go with these really annoying revival spell and trap cards like Super Team Buddy Force and Powerful Rebirth, which can make using MSTs and Cosmic Cyclones very dangerous against them, because of the simple fact that they can just chain their revival traps to it and bring back their monsters and cause you to neg one off of your back row removal. So the field spell can also be difficult to deal with. And they have plenty of other things in their toolbox, like in their XYZ toolbox, like Diamond Dire Wolf, that just makes this deck extremely powerful right now. Magnet Warrior is able to shine at the moment as the number one deck, and I expect that to be the case in the KC Cup. Alright, next up we have Gaia. This deck really benefited from a couple new additions in the last couple months. Monster Reborn really helped this deck out more than almost any other deck. We have a lot of big monsters that are always going to the graveyard here. We can bring back our Gaia to go into an additional fusion play to have it bring it back, special summon your dragon from the graveyard and go into an additional fusion monster. Plus, you can bring back your chaos monster as well, BLS, Dark Flare. Speaking of Blackluster Soldier, it's really strong in this deck that we can search it out, right? You know, a few different decks can take advantage of the BLS, but having a way to search it from our deck with the Gaia hand trap is just really powerful. It's such a strong card to finish games, and when you can consistently get it to your hand, because you can literally search it out from your deck with the Galloping Gaia and then the hand trap monster. So I mean, the field spell doesn't directly search it out, but it searches out the hand trap Gaia, which can get you to BLS. So it's really easy to search it from your deck, get it to your hand, finish out games with it. And it's really helped push Gaia over the top, and along with the other hits that have come out to the other decks, it still has a consistency skill that is really powerful. Remember, other things like Automatopoeia, the Red Dragon Archfiend skill, they all got nerfed, so there's not as many consistency skills like the Gaia one left. And having that just makes this deck really powerful. And then we also have other tools in our toolbox too. We can use DD Crow and other things in here in the main deck, and it's not a bad idea. So I expect Gaia to continue to do really well in this format and to be one of those other top decks in the KC Cup going forward. Alright, next up we have Water XYZ. This is one of those other decks that has just sort of been like a base power line level deck for the format, right? It's a good judge of seeing how strong the format is. When Water's doing really good, we have a weaker format. When it's not doing so good, we know we have a stronger one. Water's been doing pretty good lately. It's one of those top few decks in the game right now. It's got a lot of tools in its arsenal. I know this does better in like a side deck format, because one of Water's advantages is that it has a lot of different side deck tools to its advantage that it can use. Necro Valley being one of them that I expect we'll see in the main deck a lot going forward, but they obviously don't have that versatility in the KC Cup because it's a best of one format and there's no side deck to worry about. But that being said, they can still run the base package of MST, Book of Moon, Treacherous Trap Hole, and again, they can main deck a Necro Valley or two, which is really powerful against each of the last two decks that we just looked at. It stops Magnet Warrior from being able to summon Berserkion or bring back their monster out of the graveyard. Gaia can't banish stuff for BLS, and they also can't bring back their dragon out the graveyard to go for their fusion play, though they do have an easy way to pop it, so if they summon it out of their hand. But nonetheless, so Necro Valley does do work against a number of decks in the format, and especially against Magnets, which I expect to be very popular in the KC Cup. In addition to that, it's still the same as it was. You know, how often can you open up a Deep Sea Diva in your hand? How often can you top deck it at the right times, right? It's still a really great card. You also have the two Buzzsaw Sharks to go into the Abyss Dweller and the Hope Woven, as well as go for that Black Ray Lantern play, which has become more and more popular among Water players. So it's still a solid deck. It still gets the job done. And again, I expect this to be sort of the #1 Necro Valley deck in the KC Cup. Cup going forward, because its ability to the main deck it, and the popularity that Magnet Warriors are going to have. Alright, another deck that can use Necro, but I don't expect to be using it too much in the KC Cup Best of 1 format. Harpy Ladies. So Harpy Ladies got their skill nerfed, Harpy Hunting Ground, but they're still doing really well in the format, right? Even with that skill nerfed in the way that it has been, they still can easily get their Harpy Hunting Ground to deck to hand with the Perfumer. You also have the Sign, which can search it out, and you can also run the other skill, which gives you Harpy's Last Will, which gives you Harpy's Feather Duster to hand and lets you blow out your opponent's back row. So this deck still has a lot of really good things going for it when it comes to being the anti-back row deck, so to speak. And it also can do we have a number of different ways to play the deck, right? I mentioned that there's different skills. We have Hunting Ground, we have the Harpy's Last Will. You also can run Mind Scan in here if you want to, or Ties That Bind if you want to worry about the mirror match. So there's other ways to go about running the skill. Also, the deck itself, you can run the faster 20 card variant, or you can play the slower 30 card variant, which is what this one is. We are constantly discarding your Hysteric Signs, getting major pluses on it, playing that long game, and just really wearing decks out. So there's a couple different ways to play this deck. It's still a really solid pick, even after all the nerfs that it's had in the ban list, with its skills getting hit. Harpy Ladies are still doing really well. They're one of those top 4 decks, and I expect that to be the case in the KC Cup as well, as they're also still a fairly simple deck to play along with like Water and Gaia, that a lot of people still have access to, right? Because they had a lot of cheaper cards. You know, a lot of people went after it back in the day. And it's still, you know, a deck that a lot of people have access to, so expect to see plenty of Harpy Lady in the KC Cup as well. Now, the first 4 decks here were really easy to pick, because I feel like there's 4 decks that are kind of, you know, a little away as the best 4 of the metagame right now. So choosing what the 5th deck was a little bit tough, but I do think that in a lot of ways Buster Blader has kind of been rising to be that 5th best deck of the metagame, and is moving into this spot here. It's got several, you know, things going for it in this format. Number 1, we have a good matchup against things like Gaia, because Gaia's using dragon monsters all over the place. We can easily take those out. Plus, we generally tend to main deck things like Cosmic Cyclone, take care of their field spell. But we also have a fairly solid matchup against Magnets as well. Because of the spell card that lets us banish monsters out of our opponent's graveyard, we can banish our Magnet Warriors out of our opponent's grave, stopping them from getting the Berserkion play on the board, and also potentially stopping their trap cards. If we chain it to a revival trap card, you can stop that trap from going off and banish their monster out of the graveyard so they can't summon it. It just makes it really difficult for Magnets to be able to keep up with this deck as it does this thing. We also have that really annoying play where you can play the DNA Surgery and then fusion off your opponent's monsters. So that's one way to deal with really problematic threats that you couldn't otherwise deal with. And also, which is just being the nature of it, the best of ones, it's really easy, like say if you brick early and you don't have a monster, for your opponent to play into your draw sense low level, thinking that you have Destiny Draw, not wanting to deal that 2,000 damage, but they deal that 1,000 damage, and you're very easily able to trigger your skill, get your Buster Whelp, and start your plays going. So I expect that to be another thing that Buster Blader can do in this event that will be happening quite a bit. But other than that, you also have a lot of versatility with your back row cards. As we see, we have the Book of Moons and the Cosmics in here. I think Cosmic is actually becoming a little bit more popular right now with so many back row cards that it's nice to hit them with Cosmic Cyclone to banish them, so you don't have to worry about it. Things like the Buster Blader trap card, right? If you can banish that with Cosmic Cyclone, you can stop it from going off in the graveyard. And there's quite a few decks that have traps like that. Back row like that. Abyss Actor is another one that you rather banish your monster with Cosmic instead of MSTing it. And also, a lot of people are running one Treacherous Trap Hole in a lot of different decks right now. So I think Cosmic is becoming a lot more popular, and you'll see a lot of it in the KC Cup, and you'll see a good mix instead of it just being MST the way it's been the last few months on the competitive scene. But nonetheless, so again, Buster Blader has a lot of different backer cards that can run the Floodgates trap holes if they want to. They can run the Canadias. They have a bunch of different trap cards that they can run in their arsenal to go along with the the other things in their deck. So yeah, Buster Blader, a good deck going forward. I expect them to be very popular in the KC Cup. And again, there were a couple other decks that I probably could have put in this spot as well. They will make it into the top 5 rogue deck list, which we'll be doing tomorrow, and we'll also be doing a top 5 budget deck list for the upcoming KC. Well, I guess KC Cup's going on right now, right? But the main event, stage 2, will be this upcoming weekend. So until then, if you guys liked the video, please be sure to like and subscribe. It helps out the channel, and I really appreciate you guys taking the time to watch, and have a wonderful rest of the day.